TGIF, it's Friday, everybody. Welcome into First Take. Skip Bayless, happy. I wonder why. Molly Karam here with you in Bristol. Stephen A. in New York. Gentlemen, good morning. How are we doing?
Yeah. You know what, really? Stephen A. Smith, I got to tell you, as Thursday night football games go, that was a great game to watch. Wouldn't you agree?
You know what, Skip? I would tell you something very, very derogatory, but we're on the national airwaves. Plus, I love you, so I'm gonna let it go. But you already ticking me off. You know what you're doing, but it's all right.
Push that button.
It's all right.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I know you are.
Yep.
I know you. You don't need to push the button this morning, Skip.
Yeah. All right.
Trust me.
The
Steelers did that all by themselves.
Yeah.
Come on. What about your Yankees? There should be a half smile.
About the Yankees.
Miss Connecticut, do not get on my nerves. Do not listen to Skip and get on my nerves like he's doing right now. Don't y'all get on my bad side anymore. The Steelers did enough.
Okay.
Y'all better stop.
All right. I accept my crown and sash next time you're in Connecticut, my great state. All right, let's work. Coming up, we'll preview this weekend's slate of games. We're going to pick those, plus the big SEC showdown, Alabama versus Georgia. How much pressure is on Mark Richt to get the win? In corner, Orlando Scandrick will join our Cowboys hater and lover for some real talk on America's team. But first, we kick things off with Thursday night football. Baltimore rallied from a 13-point second-half deficit to beat Pittsburgh on the road for their first win of the season. The Steelers went for it on fourth down twice in overtime, but couldn't convert. Justin Tucker made a 52-yard field goal with 5:08 left in OT to give the Ravens a 23-20 victory. Here's Michael Vick.
Probably one of the toughest losses of my career. We had our chances to win the game. There was a lot of plays that I could have made that I didn't make, and it's disappointing.
Vic's feeling like Stephen A. Stephen A., who's to blame for this loss on the Steelers side?
Well, I hear a lot of talk about Mike Tomlin. You know he's my favorite coach in all of the NFL. Obviously, he deserves some blame from the perspective that there's a 50-yard field goal in overtime. You know, you've got to let Scobie, who, as far as I'm concerned, his nickname is Scrubby or Scooby-Doo. Pick one of them. They both apply with how disgusted I am. I'm picking both. I'm going to pick both. Scrubby or Scooby-Doo.
Like
one of those work for me. I'm just so disgusted with him right now. You have two opportunities in the fourth quarter. He blows it for you. I definitely don't blame Mike Tomlin for not letting him kick. I think it was like a 56-yarder because I'm not even allowing him to take that chance because I've lost faith in him. He missed a 49 and a 41-yarder. I'm not having faith in him with that one. But with the game on the line, you got a 50-yarder, you got to let Bob. Damn it, as far as I'm concerned, give him a third try, and if he misses it, don't even let him walk out the stadium with a job. Fire him on the spot the second you get in the locker room. But Mike Tomlin elected not to do that. You know, obviously he elected to leave it to Todd Haley to make a call, and that's where I get into the blame game. Scobie, Scrubby, Scooby-Doo, whatever word you want to call him, he definitely is the main culprit in all of this. But Skip Bayless, I'm going to put some of the onus, some of the blame on the shoulders of Todd Haley, the offensive coordinator. Because when you have the opportunity and you're bypassing the field goal attempts and you got the opportunity on fourth downs, okay, what you don't do is allow Michael Vick on one play to scramble to his left and try to run for it. That ain't going to cut it. And the other thing you don't do is allow him to drop back to pass and throw a 10-yarder to Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown was wide open. It is true. But you have to know your personnel. Michael Vick has not been playing. It's in overtime. You don't put him in that position where he needs to make that kind of play on a fourth down with the game on the line. You just don't do it. You don't go away from your bread and butter. There's a guy on the Pittsburgh Steelers. His name would happen to be Le'Veon Bell. Same guy that rushed 22 times for 129 yards. The same guy that is widely recognized as the best all-around running back in the game of football. And somehow, some way, this Pittsburgh Steelers team, with the game on the line, overtime for crying out loud, got Le'Veon Bell back there, and he doesn't touch the damn ball. I do not understand this. To save my life, this is Todd Haley all over again, deciding that what he wants to do, Skip Bayless, is prove that he is head coach material. He has no desire to be an offensive coordinator. He's the offensive coordinator because he's trying to collect a check. But in reality, he believes he should be the head coach. He believes he should be the one making all the decisions. He believes that he is a guy that has to prove that this dude knows exactly what he's doing. Now, to his defense, he would not have minded kicking the field goal. Tomlin went against those guys. That's on Tomlin. I'm not completely absolving him by any stretch of the imagination. But in the end, my two biggest culprits are Todd Haley and, of course, Scobie, Scrubby, Scooby-Doo. That's it. He, who, by the way, should be without a job. And I want to know who's the person that made the decision to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars to get a component from their moribund franchise to bring on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's just sacrilegious in and of itself. Just go ahead. Just go ahead. I don't even talk about it no more. Just go ahead.
So you are blaming, in the end, the offensive coordinator and the new just traded for kicker for what happened last night to your Steelers at your stadium. Am I right about that?
Did I stutter? Did I stutter? But you asking me a question. But just go ahead and speak. Don't ask me anything right now. I don't feel like talking about it right now.
We gave like one ounce of blame to Mike Tomlin, but I only heard 1 ounce. Okay, allow me first.
It's a little more than 1 ounce. Well, go ahead.
All right. Allow me first to address Josh Scrubby, if you will. Josh Scobie kicked for 11 years for the Jacksonville Jaguars, is the all-time leading scorer for that franchise, and has a reputation as one of the more clutch kickers in all of pro football. In his career, Josh Scobie is 5 for 5 on what I would call walk-off kicks, kicks that were going to win or lose the game in the last minute.
Can I ask a question? Can I interject?
Yes.
Can I interject?
Yes.
Who has missed more field goals than Scobie since the start of the 2014 season?
Since start
a year
2014.
A year and 4 games now. Who's missed more field goals than
I assume you're going to tell
Scrubby?
Me nobody.
Who?
Nobody.
Thank you.
Okay,
nobody.
now
I don't care. What have you done for me lately? I'm a Janet Jackson fan. What have you done for me lately?
Okay.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You said nothing.
Don't
nothing.
Oh, yeah. It'll cost us. Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you this. What is by far the most difficult field to kick on in the National Football League? And it's not even close. Heinz Field. Because at Heinz Field, since it opened in 2001, on kicks of 50 or more yards, only 28.6% have been made. Think about that. Only 28.6% of kicks of 50 or more yards. Wow. On all other stadium and all other turfs all around the world, wherever the NFL might play, Wembley Stadium in London, all those, the average make from 50-plus yards is 57.6. So it's 30% more chance of making a 50-plus yard field goal anywhere but Heinz Field. Bottom line, he was kicking into that tricky wind late in the game, going into overtime. And was I surprised he missed from 49 yards? I was not. 41 is about a 50-50 endeavor on that field against that wind, that tricky crosswind, and he missed it. And I give you that one. That was a tough one. But in the end, I do not blame Mike Tomlin for saying 50, I don't think so. But here's where I do blame Mike Tomlin. And I'm on record, so I'm not being 20/20 hindsight here. We have both agreed that the only place where Michael Vick would have landed one last shot was with Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. And I give Mike Tomlin props for doing that because he loves him some Michael Vick. He holds Michael Vick in awe for all that Michael has accomplished on the field and off the field with the redemption that he was able to achieve post-prison sentence. So to me, Mike Tomlin last night let his heart take over for his head because twice in critical moments, I think it was Mike Tomlin's final decision to put the game in Michael Vick's hands. Let him run for it, and then let him throw to Antonio Brown. That's the head coach's call on how you're going to attack a fourth down play. I could be wrong about this, and we may never know the exact truth of this, but I don't think that was Todd Haley's call. I think it was already preordained in Wednesday meetings that we will do this on fourth down and short or in some big goal line play. And I think he wanted the ball in Michael Vick's hands, maybe in part because Mike Tomlin is hanging on to the past of what Michael Vick used to be, because we all know it was the greatest show on turf was actually Michael Vick. Once upon a time, and I thought last night Michael Vick was sensational by his late career standards that we've seen over the last 2 years in the first half. What a sensational half he played. He threw a touchdown pass that Antonio Brown couldn't hang on to. It was a beautiful throw. But over the time, as he wore down a little bit in the second half, maybe it's conditioning, he lost his accuracy. All the way through the second half, they had 62 total yards in the third and fourth quarter. That's not good enough. You're not going to hold off your division rival as beat up as it is with 62 yards of offense. And finally, why then, as Michael Vick has cooled off, would you put the game in his hands? You got to blame Mike Tomlin for that because he's the one who brought him in. Todd Haley didn't bring Michael Vick there. Mike Tomlin did. And again, I admire the heart of it, but I can't go along with the head of it because it's the wrong. You're exactly right. You have to at least give the ball to Le'Veon or hope that you run the kind of play where you're going to get the ball successfully into Antonio's hands. That was a little bit of a dicey throw because he had to throw it across his body into the flat, and he'd lost his accuracy, and we know the rest of the story. So why would Mike Tomlin choose Michael Vick on those two plays? That's just me.
Well, listen, again, you and I disagree from the perspective that I think that it was Mike Tomlin's call not to kick that field goal, but I think the play calling was left to Todd Haley. And whether it was planned earlier in the week or made just impromptu at the moment that the game was unfolding, here's what I don't like. When you look at a guy like a Michael Vick, for example, that play was tailor-made for Big Ben. With Antonio Brown out on the flat, he's wide open. You're a right-handed quarterback, particularly with the size and arm of a Big Ben. That's a completion. That's a first down. Even though Antonio Brown did drop a bomb from Michael Vick earlier in the game, which was a devastating thing for me to see personally. But let's be clear about something here. You're asking Michael Vick to throw across his body. He's a lefty. See, that's the kind of thing where you know some coaching or lack thereof comes into play. Because if Michael Vick was throwing that to the left side of the field, Skip Bayless, wouldn't that have been, a significantly higher chance of that completion taking place than him having to throw across his body? You got to know these kind of things, which these coaches undoubtedly know if they're paying attention to. Unfortunately, that's not what happened last night. I didn't think Michael Vick played a bad game. A matter of fact, considering the fact that he hadn't played in quite a long time, I didn't think that he was that bad at all. He wasn't a game changer or anything like that. But he showed up, he contributed, he made some good throws last night. I'm just saying you've got to know your personnel and, more importantly, ride with the horses that get you there. I get so tired of everybody, and you can tell that you can just tell the Todd Haley's of the world how they are, Skip Bayless, because it's not about just winning or losing. It's about doing it my way. Let me show my brilliance here. And I'm telling you, it was the right play. Antonio Brown was open, if that's what you're looking at. But you've got to know your personnel and what chances you can and cannot take in certain situations because of that very own personnel. And more importantly, even with people, all of these coaches, they watch film all the time, Skip. They're very, very rarely surprised. They know what you're going to do. The difference between the good players and the great ones is that the great ones sit there and say, I understand you know, but what you going to do about it? Le'Veon Bell is one of those dudes.
Yeah, I agree.
What you going to do about it? He can't get you 1 yard?
Yeah.
He can't get you 1 yard? This 4th and 1. Not once, but twice. And his number doesn't get called? Oh, it's unforgivable.
Yeah.
It's unforgivable.
Okay, last quick point on this question. I would also take issue with the choice of throwing that kind of pass to Antonio Brown. I love Antonio. I know him off the field. Big fan. But he's not the tallest guy in the world. So you're asking Michael Vick to throw it to by NFL standards, a miniature target out in the flat. And the ball was high. If you threw it to any of their bigger targets, somebody might go up and snatch it.
Haywood Bay or Wheaton would have been fine with me. Would have been fine with me.
Yep.
Want to get into the Ravens side of things now, gentlemen?
Yes.
All right. So